Listen to me, this is our playoff game. So we got to practice that way. It is a different, total different style. They're fighting for their lives, okay? Understand that. We're fighting to make sure you understand who we are. Who we are and we will be from now on. We need to understand that, okay? So we need the execution today, okay? Let's go, make sure we're practicing the right way. We're communicating the right way. Okay, Chris, break us down. Here we go.
Your mind is finished, baby. Love what you do, do what you love. Win on three, win on three, 1, 2, 3.
All right, welcome into the Browns Countdown. The Browns are playing meaningful football in Week 17 for the first time in more than a decade. Meaningful not just because they can keep the Baltimore Ravens out of the postseason. Meaningful because the Browns can clinch their first winning record since 2007 and continue to carry in a ton of momentum into 2019. Welcome into the Browns Countdown. I'm News 5 sports anchor John Doss alongside, as always, a Browns legend. We all like the dog pound. Well, you can thank this guy. He's Hanford Dixon. The guy on the end there. One half of the Next Level radio show on ESPN Cleveland. Also the only reason Tom Brady has so many Super Bowl rings. That's Gerard Cherry. Guys, I got to apologize. First thing, 20 weeks we've gone this season. All the way back to the preseason, not so much as a cough. Now I'm about to lose my voice. Yeah, you're like, man, you're like way back there.
I like your voice sounds funny today.
Well, you're not the only one. For all the people that say that on Twitter, they're going to get really thrown off today. A couple of really important Browns birthdays this week. Of course, Myles Garrett turned 23 yesterday. Wow. Can you believe Myles Garrett's only 23 years old?
Look like he's 30.
This guy is going to dominate the NFL for a long time. And, of course, Hanford Dixon. Happy belated.
Hey, and I want to tell you guys something.
That you guys are only 6 years apart?
No, Bernie Kosar, I hope you're listening because I said happy birthday to you, and you have not, until today, you've not said happy birthday to me, so I'm giving you a hard time.
Busy man.
He's been busy.
Hey, guys, love what you do what you love.
This is a really interesting matchup. And Hanford, I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about the Baltimore.
I have a question for you guys. Can you believe right now, last week, the last game of the season was a sellout?
Yeah, well, we haven't seen that in a while, obviously, but to see that, and I knew it that morning I was driving past the Muni lot. I'm saying to myself, oh my gosh, this is like to capacity already. So that was a great sign. And the crowd, they learned the hard way that you better get to the game early because there's about 40,000 people before the first quarter still sitting out there.
Yeah, and for good reason. I mean, the optimism for this team, especially going into 2019, is big. But that big win against the Cincinnati Bengals, let's relive that.
Good afternoon, everybody, from a sold-out First Energy Stadium. Today, it's the Battle of Ohio, round 2 for this season, and there is an electricity on the lakefront today. Here come the Browns out of the tunnel. Wow, this is going to be fun. Driscoll waits, lifts his left leg, wants the ball. He's got it. Pressure up the middle, and a fumble as he got the ball knocked out by Schobert. 4th down. They'll punt now, Doug. 3rd down and goal. Baker gets a blitz. He lobs end zone. Njoku up. He's got it. Touchdown. David Njoku.
Little alley-oop in the left corner of the end zone.
6-0 the Browns lead. Mayfield put it up there like a snowflake. Here's Mayfield on a double reverse. Now a triple reverse. Now Landry's looking. He's going to go long and deep for Parham, and he got it at the 15, at the 10, and it's 1st and goal for the Browns inside the 10 at the 7-yard line. What a throw by Landry. Mayfield on 2nd and goal takes the snap. Plays a rollout to the right. He's throwing, is he? Now he pulls it down. Now he fires. It's caught. Touchdown, Darren Fells. Browns lead 13-0. And now this place is lit up.
Yes, it is.
Driscoll underneath center. Turns, gives it. Mixon got drilled in the backfield. A big hit as Ogunjobi blew through unblocked. He's got the snap. He looks. He zings one in. Here comes Higgins across the field. 10, 5, pylon. Is he in? Touchdown. He is in. Driscoll's got it. Back to pass. He's going to get hit in the pocket. He's going to get hit again. And Ogunjobi got him. Back at the 34-yard line. The Browns defense has absolutely been amazing today.
Yeah.
Baker takes the snap. 2nd and 4. Rolls right. Throws down the middle. Njoku's got it. He's at the 40. 45, 50. He's at the 45, 40. 35, 30. 25, 20. 50, 10. 5. Down at the 2-yard line. Mayfield filled is the house that is standing right now. Here tonight, the Browns are winners again.
Is there a better celebration than the Hollywood Higgins red carpet walk?
Hard pressed, man.
And they've really developed it really well. And Baker ran 40 yards downfield to make sure that he was there to grab a snapshot.
I told you guys, I thought Higgins was one of the most improved guys on this football team, and I like him now. He's just, you could see his confidence just continuing to grow each and every week. And you see that little shake he does after a little game, you know, after he makes a big play or something. So, well, you know, I can't get it down, but, you know, it's, I see the way you guys were looking at me, you know.
You saw the look on my face. I was like, that ain't it.
Not the same. Okay, I agree.
It's a sign of progress, and the team continues to say this: win in the division.
Right.
Sweeping the Cincinnati Bengals, that's the first big step into continuing to win in this division.
Oh, yeah, you have to, you know, coming from where we've come from, I mean, obviously the #1 goal right now is to win the AFC North. Yeah. And once you win the AFC North, what you want to do, you want to get to the playoffs. But right now, I tell you, we're not the last team, Gerard. We're not the last team in the division.
Exactly. And how many times we talked about the concept of closing the gap? We've gone from closing the gap to actually putting ourselves in position to where we can win the division outright. And now, it won't put us in the playoffs because of what took place with the tie with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you've gone from being the perennial loser in the division to now a top-tier team. You swept someone, that being the Bengals. Now you have the opportunity to do something you've never done before. There's so much at stake for this game, so I can't wait to see how they respond and realize that, hey, we are totally changing the narrative of what the Cleveland Browns represent within the AFC North.
Yeah. Well, I also like their whole attitude this week. Obviously, you have a lot of teams at this point in the season when they're not going to the playoffs, they pretty much have their bags packed. Yep. They approached this week, hey, we want to show them who we are, where we are right now. We're not the team right now that everybody could beat up on.
Right. Gerard said it, a chance to do something that they've never done before. They've never in the same season swept the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. They can finish 4-1-1 in this division. So this is stellar to the top of the division in a year.
Yeah, and I love what Greg Williams had to say as well, because he put it right there. Hey, this is about us determining on film who we are and what we are. So your ideas, your determination is just as equal as what the Ravens are trying to achieve, which is to get to the playoffs. But hey, you're trying to get more than respectability. You're trying to send a message to the rest of the National Football League that you have arrived.
And guys, what I like too, you see where the National Football League moved this game. Obviously, this was a 1 o'clock game. Now it's the late game, the 4:25 game. So that's saying a lot about the Cleveland Browns.
And in Columbus as well.
Yes.
Because they were going to play the Bengals versus the Steelers. But there was a little outcry that changed all that.
That would have been stupid anyway. We're making a big deal out of this winning record thing. The Browns could be 8-7-1 at the end of the day today, which would be a big deal. But I look at it more as an 8-win improvement from an 0-16 team, 8-7-1. 8-win improvement. You typically do that in a regular season. You're winning 12, 13 games, and the Browns could do that next year.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing you think about with the Browns is that if you go back, and I hate to play hindsight guy and go back on this schedule, you're a yard away from actually being in the playoffs. A decision that was made by the referees of actually
an Oakland game
being in the city, exactly, where you could be in the playoff conversation and preparing yourself for that the following week if you win this game. So yes, you have definitely made a step in the right direction, considering what you just said, John, and that you went from being 0-16 to in a potential situation of mass 8 wins.
Hey, isn't it amazing, though, how this team just turned around once? And again, I'm not bashing Hugh. Yeah. I'm not talking about Hugh.
Never would he do that.
I like the guy. Again, we all wish him well. We're in Cincinnati, but you know, since Williams took over this team right now is just unbelievable how they responded and how they just continue to win ball games.
Entirely different team, and that, of course, starts with Baker Mayfield. We saw a switch flip midseason for Baker Mayfield, who was good in his first couple of ball games, but boy, when Freddie Kitchens became the offensive coordinator, Baker Mayfield has turned into not just the best rookie, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, and that's the amazing part about it when you look at his maturation, and that you're saying to yourself, because I was of the opinion we would not see him to midway 2019. Comes into the Jet games, has some success, has a falling off period where his development didn't look like it was on the right track, but then things changed within the organization, and the next thing you know, you have a guy putting up premier NFL leading numbers. So yes, you have to be excited that we have finally found that guy who we're ready to deem and designate as the face of the franchise.
Guys, check out some of these numbers. He's got a 115 quarterback ratings. Here's something that's astounding to me that really shocked me. He's completing 63%. He's got a 63% completion rate on third down. Now, you guys know that's when you're moving the sticks, and that's when you keep it going. Yeah. Amazing how he's playing.
And his numbers in the red zone, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to have Randy look this up, 19 touchdowns to 0 interceptions in the red zone.
Wow.
That's winning time.
Yeah,
that's clutch
think about
time.
last year what we were experiencing with Kaiser and what we have now in that regard. So it makes a world of difference, hence the record.
Yeah, plus Baker Mayfield has, Hanford's really excited about
We have finally found our quarterback.
Plus, Baker draws attention nationwide for his attitude and the chip on his shoulder and the way that he plays. And we here in Cleveland like that. If only we could get him mic'd up during a football game.
That would be nice.
Oh, we did. Check it out.
Oh, come on, Philly. Philly Collins. Looking for this moment around my life. Hey, last time they cut it off before the beat dropped.
They ain't never gonna do that again.
No, I mean, how can you cut Philly Collins off?
Disrespectful to Phil.
I would never disrespect Phil.
Never disrespect Phil.
Ever. Oh, that beat's about to drop. You know that beat's about to drop. Put on my drums, put on my drums.
Mayfield on 2nd and goal takes the snap. Plays a rollout to the right. He's throwing, is he? Now he pulls it down. Now he fires. It's caught. Touchdown, Darren Foles.
You talk about buying time.
Darren! Box out!
Oh, he'll take it to the rim.
Gravy!
Yes, sir.
Hey! Hey, we're not done! We're not done! Hey! We're not done! Keep it going!
How do you not want to play with that guy?
Yeah.
And these guys do. These guys routinely talk about how much they love playing with Baker Mayfield for reasons that you see there.
Well, I'll tell you, I was a very cocky guy. I mean, I was a guy that talked all the time, talked a lot of stuff to everybody, to the opponents, and I didn't care, you know. I didn't care if it was billboard stuff for the opposing team because I felt that our team had to be ready to play, and Baker is the same way. But the most important thing, he talks a lot of stuff, but he bags it up.
Yeah, and that's the key part. Put the numbers out there to show that, hey, yeah, I'm going to bring it to the table. Another part, though, is it is infectious when you have a guy who's having fun. Because think about it. You're in a situation where it was pure misery to be on this football team, and now you've seen the flip of the coin to where these guys are having a great time. He doesn't want to disrespect Phil Collins, but, well, we know he'll disrespect Jackson. That's a whole nother ball game. But, yes, it is infectious, and it is fun.
And I have to say, Baker, please don't sing. But if a reporter came up to me about, if I was playing with Baker, and if someone came up to me and said something about, you know, what do you think about what Baker said? I said, let me tell you something. I have his back. That's my quarterback. We have to go out and play.
And that's basically what everybody in that locker room said. So this game is a big deal, not just for the Browns and Ravens, but the entire AFC North. We'll talk about more on that when we come back here on the Browns Countdown, presented by El Canal.
Play clock is at 5. It's now at 2. It's at 1. Baker takes the snap. 2nd and 4. Rolls right. Throws down the middle. And Njoku's got it. He's at the 40. 45-50. He's at the 45-40. 35-30. 25-20. 50-10. 5. Down at the 2-yard line. David Njoku. Big man on the loose.
We knew he could high jump. We didn't know he could run.
Wow, that has him up and down here at the stadium. 65 yards to Njoku.
And that, of course, is what clinched the Browns' win against the Cincinnati Bengals last week. John Doss, Hanford, Dixon, Gerard Cherry. Let's go around the AFC North. The Ravens are in an interesting opportunity here, a win and they're into the postseason. They were in the exact same scenario last year. Beat the Bengals, go to the playoffs. They lost on the final play of the game thanks to Andy Dalton.
Tell you what, this team right now, the Ravens are playing extremely well. Obviously, their quarterback, Jackson, who is just, you know, he's starting to pass the ball more and more. He's got those two big tight ends, Andrews and Hurst. But they are able to run the football, Gerard, so well. That's what we have to do. We have to be able to stop the run against these guys.
For sure, and to the Ravens' credit, they found a way to incorporate Jackson into the game and make things happen with him running the ball and not being a premier pocket passer. But when you have one of the best defenses in the game this time of year, that is what matters most. And I'm pretty sure they'll build off of the experience that they had last year and come out there with some next-level intensity.
Okay, so go ahead.
You know, I was going to say, you know, everybody seems to forget the year when the Ravens won the Super Bowl. When they won the Super Bowl, they didn't have the quarterback now was not Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So
Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer, yeah.
But they had the best defense in the NFL.
That's right.
Which right now they have the best defense in the NFL. So the Steelers need the Ravens to lose, and Pittsburgh's got to beat Cincinnati. So I pose this question to you, especially you, Hanford. Who would you rather see screwed here in Week 17, the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Hey, guys, I'm torn here. I mean, I'm really, really torn here because I never want to help the Steelers, and I don't want any actions that, anything we could do to help those Pittsburgh Steelers. I would much rather have a win-win solution. You know, I think I don't want the Steelers to go. That's all I want to say.
Basically, you would have, well, I guess, well, listen, if the scenario that we don't want to happen happens, if the Ravens win, of course, if the Ravens lose and Pittsburgh loses, the Ravens would still go to the postseason. Right. So the Steelers need a loss and a win.
Yeah. So that would be idea. The first, you know,
if they both lose. That's what you're hoping.
It's a given. The Bengals are going to lose. We can give you that. It comes down to what we are going to do against the Ravens.
Are the Bengals that bad?
The Bengals are that bad. You saw it last week. They are that bad.
You've seen it twice in the last 5 weeks. They're a bad football team. The Ravens, on the other hand, are a really good football team, and for a reason that you mentioned earlier, that defense really good, #1 ranked defense in the NFL.
I can tell you guys this though. I think if the Steelers get in, they will be a dangerous football team.
Sure.
Dangerous football team.
And Baltimore could be too with Jackson back there if you've not game planned for that sort of thing. But Baltimore and its defense is what really sets the Ravens apart.
Yeah, and every year you have, be it the AFC or the NFC, one of these wild card teams is hot at the right time. They get rolling and they find themselves in the Super Bowl. And I could totally see a scenario where the Ravens could be that team if they were able to get past us today. Because again, this time of year, it's about defense and shutting these offenses down. And to their credit, they have been able to do just that.
Well, they have those two corners that are playing extremely well, talking about Humphrey and Carr. And, of course, they have Jimmy Smith that comes in on the dime package. But, guys, it all starts up front with those guys. Talking about Suggs. You're talking about C.J. Mosley. Back in the secondary, they got the guy, Weddle, who is also going to another Pro Bowl. But this defense is just playing unbelievable.
God, I really hate to hear you talk about the team that gets hot late because that could be the Cleveland Browns. That could have been the Cleveland Browns this year. You win that game in Oakland, all of a sudden it's the Browns that are the hot team in the NFL, maybe clinching that wild card and maybe going even further. But we won't talk about that. Let's talk about Week 5. Remember the last time these two teams played? Baltimore here at First Energy Stadium wasn't the prettiest ball game, but the Browns got the win, a 12-9 win, and really was, aside from that Jets game, Baker Mayfield's first signature win.
Well, he had a great game. I mean, he had almost 350 yards passing. I think it was 342 to be exact. But also, we gave, and that was a game, Gerard, we gave up 5 sacks, I think, to the Baltimore Ravens, but we were still able to come off with the win.
Right, and the key part, again, will be the same scenario probably unfolding in, which is going to be a field position football game. Who does the best with special teams and plays complementary football, in which you're flipping the field and you're taking advantage of the limited scoring opportunities that you'll probably get during the course of this game.
You know what's going to be another key at this ball game too, Chubbs, because when you look at the Ravens defense, they're under 100 yards given up per game, and we can actually run the football. So it's going to be interesting to see how we run the football.
That's a great point, bringing up Chubbs too, because he's in a situation where he can have a milestone moment where he can get over 1,000 yards. But the cool thing about Chubbs is that he's not the type of guy where you worry about him getting upset if he's not going to get his chances. And Baker's in a position where he can break a rookie record for touchdowns in the season as well. So there's some personal accolades on the line here as well, but ultimately it's about the win in the team game.
Well, Nick is going to get over 1,000. He's only 28 yards away.
Yeah. Are you guys saying you're like me? You can't wait for this game to start? I mean, it's just going to be...
I'm a little upset they pushed it back a few hours. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Anticipation is too much,
Both of these teams are so drastically different than what we saw in Week 5. Lamar Jackson obviously changed the landscape in Baltimore, but you talked about Baker Mayfield was sacked 5 times in that game. Baker's only been hit 7 times in the last 7 weeks. That offensive line has played so much better. Time now for our Browns Hot Minute presented by Sugardale.
Quarterbacks who are mobile are running and getting around, but then they're sliding. He's trying to dive for first downs. He's not just running out of bounds when he gets to the sideline. So I don't think there's anybody quite like him right now. It's going to be a challenge, but I think we're up for it.
Don't disregard his arm strength. You know, he can throw it a long way too. You know, they do a lot of good jobs in the run game, and especially the play-action run game, when you're compensating so hard in the run game that all of a sudden he understands how to fake a guy open and get somebody else open, and he's throwing the ball better and better each week.
If you don't contain him, he'll hurt you with his legs, but I think the thing he doesn't get enough credit for is how good of a passer he really is. When it comes to passing, he's not going to try and run around and run the ball. He wants to distribute it. He wants to get it out of his hands and get it in his playmaker's hands, and so he's a game changer.
They've been like the #1 rushing offense since he's took over at quarterback, and they're 5-1. He's a great quarterback, and just kind of looking forward for the matchup.
All right, a lot of respect for the Browns on Lamar Jackson. We're going to hear more about Lamar and Baker Mayfield from our quarterback, Bernie Kosar, in the film room when we come back on the Browns Countdown, presented by Elk & Elk. All right, welcome back inside the Browns Countdown. Of course, this game flexed today because of the two quarterback matchup, obviously, Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. With more on that, we go into the film room with Bernie Kosar and Dustin Fox.
I'm Dustin Fox alongside my partner, Bernie Kosar. Bernie, the Browns are wrapping up the season, Week 17, on the road, rivalry game, Baltimore Ravens, no Joe Flacco, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and you know what's phenomenal for the guy who's a little older here and been through the 19 years since we've come back in '99, to really have a meaningful, fun holidays, to have good December, to have meaningful games. Okay, I know the playoff things were long shot type things, but it's the beginning of the year. We talking about believing to win, and here we are going to Baltimore. Lamar Jackson now is their quarterback. Joe Flacco is probably on his way out. Marty Morningwood, their offensive coordinator, is doing a lot of those play-action passes, rollout games. When Lamar Jackson's in the game, they're one of the Baltimore Ravens, one of the top run offenses in the league. Our defense is definitely going to lock down on that front, take away the running game, but Lamar Jackson's feet and that play-action game is definitely what Marty Morningwood is going to be looking towards.
He's a terrific runner. We saw his ability at Louisville, and we know he's one of the best athletes probably in the game of football in the NFL right now. But can that be sustainable? To have a quarterback, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but to run him as much as they are?
I don't believe it's sustainable. In short bursts, it's definitely winnable, and it's nice things to do. And then December, possibly horrible weather that we have in on our division, it's absolutely something that could be a positive. Over time, though, and over a course of a whole season, defenses don't like to be embarrassed. And when the quarterback rushes for over 100 yards, you know you're better than me at the defensive mentality of it. You do not like your quarterback to run and have that physical will against you. So defensive guys are going to be taking shots at him through the course of it on a consistent basis. That makes for long-term longevity, that he needs to probably increase his passing ability as he gets older. And he will. He'll get better. Yeah. He's a rookie, too.
Finally, as you wrap up the season, I think it's important, Bernie, for the Browns to just end the season on a strong note. It's been a nice run here with Greg Williams, obviously, but again, I think it's a rivalry here with Baltimore. You know, they used to be the Browns, so it is a rivalry, and of course, a chance to not be at the bottom of the division.
Dustin, you're absolutely right on. It's people who look at it just in the course of this is a business and this is one season. Yes, there is a part of you that has to do that. The best players, though, the best coaches, the best organizations, they're proud just to be on that field. And when you're playing the division rivalry, you're right, they used to be the Browns. We haven't put up as much an effort against them. They have pride, too. We beat them in the first game here. They like to defend their home turf, too. This is laying a foundational statement about the future, absolutely.
All right, Lamar Jackson's a different type of monster than the Browns have seen. A little bit Deshaun Watson. They saw Cam Newton, obviously, but Lamar Jackson uses his legs even more than both those guys. How does that change the secondary for the Browns today?
Well, it puts a lot of pressure on the secondary because you don't know if you're going to get a run or you're going to get a pass, and you know a guy can keep a play alive, so that means you have to do even more to stay on a receiver because he's going to buy that extra time.
And I think what those guys have to do, they have to block out all the noise that they hear talking about this guy's not a great passer, because he really is. I mean, you don't get to be a #1 draft pick and the starter of a National Football League team if you can't throw the football. But I agree with you 100%. It reminds me of a guy like Elway. You have to stay with your guys a lot longer because this guy's going to buy himself time and he can zip it to him.
It's hard enough to cover an NFL receiver for 2 or 3 seconds, let alone 6 or 7 seconds, which is how he has success. He extends the play, allows things to break down in the secondary. All right, coming up on the show, we're going to hear from John Dorsey. And yes, he's wearing the sweater that we all know him very well for. That's next in the Browns Countdown, presented by El Canal.
We're mic'd up. I'm guaranteeing this play works. I'm guaranteeing this play works.
And if not, it's probably not going on the thing.
Exactly.
Here's Mayfield on a double reverse, now a triple reverse. Now Landry's looking. He's going to go long and deep for Parham, and he got it!
Oh my God. What the is wrong with him? Oh my God. Oh my God. What the? How did that work?
What a throw by Landry!
You talk about winding up and uncorking it. That's what Jarvis Landry did.
63 yards!
Hey, what the is wrong with you? Jarvis! Hey, chill out, dude. You're going to take my spot.
Hey, man. I don't know, Baker. His passing rating might be better than yours.
Golly.
I don't think Baker has anything to worry about. I think he's going to be okay. He's going to be just fine. John Doss, Hanford, Dixon, Gerard Cherry, welcome back into the Browns Countdown. Let's talk about John Dorsey because everybody you saw in that video, Landry to Brashad Perriman, Baker Mayfield, all those guys are here because of John Dorsey. What a turnaround it has been with the Browns GM this year.
Well, it's just amazing to have someone at the position that knows exactly what he's doing, that's been there before. And you could tell it by these guys that he drafted. Started off with the #1 pick, Baker Mayfield. Guys, I mean, you know, a lot of people wouldn't have been so bold to take this guy, but this guy, he's proven that he knows what he's talking about. Okay, also, the corner out of Ohio State, Denzel Ward.
Which nobody thought was a good pick at the time,
No
right?
one thought it was a good pick. Even I thought it was a little bit a stretch to take this guy as high as we did, but boy, has he played extremely well going to the Pro Bowl. Here's one, I tell you what, Nick Chubb, look at this guy. Look at the speed. Look at the power of this back. This is the guy, when I was sitting there watching him, and I keep telling you guys when Georgia was playing Alabama, I said, this guy, who is this guy? He's something special, and I was just so happy that he's with our football team. But guys, another guy I have to give a lot of credit to, Alonzo Highsmith, who's also with Dorsey making these picks. Have to give him a lot of credit.
And Elliott Wolf in there, that whole brain trust up there for the Cleveland Browns. So you got Baker Mayfield, best quarterback in the draft. Denzel Ward, not only the best cornerback, but a Pro Bowl cornerback, which means he played with the best corners in the entire league. And Nick Chubb, who if he's not as good as Saquon Barkley, is right beneath him. So a top 2 running back. This is one of the best drafts. Not just the Browns, one of the best drafts, maybe in NFL history, who knows. But Girardi also did it with the free agents.
Yes, he brought talent in, and that talent actually showed up and showed out, and that's a key part to it as well, because when you think about what we experienced in the past with free agency, it has not been a rosy or sunny picture whatsoever. So the guys that we have on this squad, the Jarvis Landrys of the world, the Perrimans, as well as Randall, and what they've done from an impact standpoint is tremendous. You have to be fired up and saying to yourself, John Dorsey may require a statue being built in his honor because, again, look at Jarvis Landrys right there. It's just been incredible. And Randall, I mean, he gave me one of the best moments of the year. The fact you intercept the football, hand it to Hugh Jackson, and then Landry's doing it with his arm as well as right here as you see, the ability to catch the football in traffic, get the job done. So impressive what I've seen out of these free agents. And here you see again, my man Randall getting the job done. And I believe he was snubbed. Sorry, Eric Weddle. Yes, you are perennial Pro Bowler, but it should have been Randall this year representing the AFC in the Pro Bowl as a free safety.
Well, Gerard, what do you say to talking about Landry and these guys' leadership too?
For sure. Yeah. That's key. That's a key part of it all, because one of the things I appreciate about Landry, and we're starting to experience it with the football team, belief that your skill set and your ability matches anyone in the National Football League. Jarvis brings that to the table, and Randall has that swagger about him as well.
Yeah, and a lot of that is due to John Dorsey. And if you've said to yourself, where's Nathan Segura in this entire show? Well, here he is. He sat down with John Dorsey earlier this week.
Very happy to be joined now by the general manager of the Browns, John Dorsey. And, sir, this has been quite a fun season for the Browns. What do you think of what you've seen from your team in 2018?
It has been fun. You know, any time when guys can play with passion, be competitive week in and week out, and continually grow exponentially as the season goes along, you know, that's a mark of a team growing and understanding the challenges of being competitive week in and week out. And right now, I think the guys are playing at a high level. Can't wait to go to Baltimore to end this thing on a proper note. And, you know, I'm very pleased with where we are right now.
So as you look to the future, what are those goals for this team now that you would imagine expectations going into next season will be higher?
I think the reality is, I think it first starts in the AFC North, okay? And we're going to have to dethrone whoever sits on top of the AFC North next year. I think that's your first goal. And your second goal is to get to the playoffs. And then let's see what happens. And then let's understand what's at stake here in 19. Let's continue where we leave off, and let's build on those. And that's what we're going to do.
What's one thing you would want to say to the fans heading into this offseason that many people will see as one that carries the most expectations and excitement for a Cleveland Browns franchise in 20 years?
I would say to them, we have now just have a degree of patience here. We're slowly beginning to build this thing, and it's going to take a little bit to establish a program. And I think that's what you want to do as we move forward, and just let them know that there's some really good guys on this football team that love the Cleveland Browns.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, speaking of love for the Cleveland Browns, we're going to go back to Bernie Kosar in the film room with Dustin Fox when we come back on the Browns Countdown, presented by Elk & Elk. All right, welcome back into the Browns Countdown, presented by Elk & Elk. Let's go back in the film room with Bernie Kosar and Dustin Fox to wrap up 2018.
Welcome inside the film room. I'm Dustin Fox alongside my partner, the legendary Browns quarterback, Bernie Kosar. Bernie, this is a special edition of the film room. We're going to break down the season and talk about how the Browns went from the bottom to the middle and kind of ending the season on the top.
Definitely sounding old when I say it's hard to believe we're at the end of the season. It just feels like yesterday we were chatting about how we can't believe the season is starting. What a fantastic cycle, roller coaster we've been on this year. I've been joking with people a lot through the course of the year, and especially the last couple weeks, about when you get, and I think the best players who stay and coaches who make it the longest in our league, when things get bad, they don't get too low. When things get high, they don't get too high on it. Right now, I have to taper myself and my enthusiasm because things look so positive. I love the physical play of both the offensive line and the defensive line. Our younger players are playing fantastic. What John Dorsey's added to the mix, and then, of course, with Baker Mayfield playing like he has, I don't have enough superlatives. Yeah. I've given him way too many compliments through the course of the year, but they're all accurate, and there's even more for that. So that foundation being laid with Greg Williams stepping in and taking what seemed like another horrible situation.
Well, and think back to the Pittsburgh game. We're on the road. It seemed like doom and gloom, and then literally the next day, wholesale changes come. Greg Williams is named the interim head coach. Freddie Kitchens takes over the offensive coordinator, someone who's never called plays before, and the offense is ignited. The defense comes to life. It was unbelievable. When you look at going forward here, the young nucleus of talent on this football team between Chubb on offense and Baker Mayfield and Jarvis outside and Njoku, and you look at all the guys, Garrett and Peppers on defense and Schobert, I mean, this is a team that next year could really take the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, John Dorsey and what he's put together in such a quick time with Alonzo Highsmith and Elliott Wolf, to the way they've all meshed with Greg Williams and Freddie Kitchens and Baker Mayfield, the growth is just fun to watch.
This is going to be a fun team. It's been a fun year. We never thought we'd be here middle of the season, and the team has really taken some steps forward.
They have taken steps forward, and if I could get somewhat philosophical now, when you have success in life and when things are going good, and again, I believe things genuinely, bluntly are going better than good. It's the off season. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of things. Stay focused on football. That same attitude that got us to this good feeling. Stay with that work ethic. Stay with that belief and singular focus towards the Cleveland Browns and winning football games in 2019.
Good work all year, partner.
Likewise.
Been a lot of fun here inside the film room. He's Bernie Kosar. I'm Dustin Fox. Thanks again for joining us.
and we have had fun having them. John Dawes, Hanford, Dixon, Gerard Cherry. Guys, it's time to talk about it now. Greg Williams, 5-2 as the interim head coach for this football team. Potentially a chance to go 6-2 in his 8 games. Is he going to be around in 2019?
Well, that's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing folds out because obviously I want to wait and see what's going to happen today. But you know, the league, before you have so many interviews and protocols and things you have to go through before you hire a head football coach right now. And obviously Greg Williams has made a strong case for himself. But I don't know. I'm not totally there yet. What about you?
Oh, I'm there. I'm of the opinion that why go with the unknown, the unproven when you have proven results? He may potentially be 6-2 or 5-3 or something of that nature. I'm fine with that because we both know, Hanford, that when you have a mid-season change at the quarterback and head coach position, all those things with coordinators, and you have this type of success, you're saying the right things to your football team to get them on the same page. And if you heard the opening of this show, what he had to say shows you right there. He knows how to register and engage his football team to a position where they prepare mentally to play games. So I'm sold on Greg Williams, and I'd be shocked if he doesn't get the chance and opportunity to be the football coach moving forward in the future. Well,
there's no question. These guys have responded to him in a positive way, and they have just made a U-turn, and they've started to win football games. So, I mean, as far as that's concerned, I mean, he's done a really good job with this football team. And also, you know, I know you like Kitchens.
Well, I kind of, the marriage between Freddie Kitchens and Baker Mayfield has been really good in just a small sample size in the second half of the season. But that's what the Browns are going to want going forward in their head coach, right? Somebody that works well with Baker Mayfield, hopefully for the next decade plus. Might that be Freddie Kitchens?
Well, guys, all I could say is when they first said they were going to name Freddie Kitchens the offensive coordinator, I said you've lost your mind. But I have to, you know, I made a complete turnaround. I'm backpedaling big time.
That's good.
He has done a tremendous job. And I agree with you. Him and Baker, they just seem like they're working so well together. And I go back to what, like I told you guys, the wishbone. Who would have thought, you know, put the wishbone on? But it worked. Yeah. And everything that he seems to implement, it is working.
Yeah, and he's making it fun out there on the offensive end. But the other part, too, is you don't want to upset that connection of quarterback and coordinator, what they have going on. Because ultimately, it can't be about Baker Mayfield, but it has to be about Baker Mayfield because we can't forget, we play a team sport in football.
You don't want to give the guy too much power as a rookie quarterback.
Right.
But you also get the sense that he needs to be in on the conversation. And I know he's not going to make the decision. I know John Dorsey's making the decision, and Alonso and Elliott and those guys are going to make the. But don't you got to talk with Baker Mayfield about this?
You're the GM. Tell me. What do you do?
I don't get paid nearly enough to make that report. Coming up next on the Browns Countdown, presented by Elkin Out, we'll have the injury report for today's game.
17-yard line. He's got the snap. He looks. He zings one in. Here comes Higgins across the field. 10, 5, pylon! Touchdown! He is in! Ho, 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 Doug.
All right, check out the injury report for today's Browns-Ravens game. Not official yet, of course, because kickoff's at 4:25. Denzel Ward is officially out. He'll miss his third game in the last 4 weeks. He's out with that concussion. J.C. Treader battling an ankle. John Brown, hamstring injury for Baltimore. Terrell Suggs, hamstring injury as well, which is impressive that Terrell Suggs is still even playing football. He's been in the league for the last 30 years, it seems. Baker Mayfield, we talked a little bit about John Dorsey and his draft. Baker Mayfield, clearly the best quarterback in this draft, but it has actually turned out to be a pretty good quarterback draft class. All these guys have played, and we're going to see 2 of them today in Baker and Lamar Jackson.
All those guys. I mean, you got Josh Allen. You got, obviously, we got another one that's playing today talking about Jackson, but Rosen. All these guys are playing, and they're playing extremely well.
That's right. And even Darnold has had his moments where he said, okay, this guy has some potential. So who would have thought that this class would be in comparison on some levels to what took place in 1983 with that great quarterback class?
Yeah. You look at all the numbers. Baker is the man.
Are you surprised all 5 of them have played as much as they have this year?
Actually,
because I think we thought Allen was going to sit for a while. We thought Lamar Jackson would sit for a while. They've all played a ton this year.
Right, and I think Baker Mayfield would see the football field, period, because Tyrod Taylor was brought here to do just that. So, yes, they've got meaningful time, and that's the cool thing about it is, for their maturation, they've taken advantage.
Hey, man, why do you think Baker right now is mad at Hugh?
That I still don't understand, because that was an organizational
All right,
decision.
time now for our stats and facts presented by FanDuel. Number one, we're talking about Baker Mayfield, 64.6 completion percentage. Guys, currently the second highest in Browns history to Otto Graham, who holds the record at just 64.7. So he could easily jump up over Otto today. Otto Graham did that back in 1953. How about number two, by throwing multiple touchdowns today? That'll be Baker's 9th multi-touchdown game this season, the most by a Browns quarterback since
Otto Graham.
Derek Anderson in 2007.
He set you up on that one, didn't he?
We'll just roll the same
I was
video.
thinking the same thing.
He will also break the NFL record. Number three, Nick Chubb. He's 28 rushing yards away from 1,000. Only needs one more rushing first down to have the 4th most by Browns in single season history. He's currently tied with Kevin Mack with 46 first downs in 1991. And number four, we like this one. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. He's good with the feet. He's been impressive. He's won football games, but this guy turns the ball over a lot. 3rd in the NFL, 10 fumbles on the season. He's had at least one fumble in each of the last 7 games, and we hope that trend continues today. We'll have our final thoughts coming up after the break on the Browns Countdown, presented by Elk & Elk. All right, welcome back into the Browns Countdown. John Doss, Hanford, Dixon, Gerard Cherry. Time now for our keys to the game. We'll start with Hanford. Age before beauty.
Yeah.
Stop the run, Hanford. The Browns got to stop the run today.
Yeah, we really do, because when you look at this Ravens football team, these guys can really rush the football. They're first in the NFL in rush yards with 218, first in rush attempts, guys, and they're also first in rushing first downs. When you look at this Baltimore Ravens football team, they're not going to stop what they do best today. They're going to run the football, and we have to be able to stop this run in order to win this game.
In totality, the Browns' run defense has not been good this year, but it's been better in the last few weeks. Gerard, you think that the Browns got to be aggressive today on the road in Baltimore?
Certainly, because when you think about the other 2 teams that we play that have playoff caliber teams, Texans as well as who else comes to mind? We have the Texans who come to mind, and then you think about how we faced them in the Chiefs. We didn't do that because we weren't aggressive, and I feel that the true nature of this football team is at its best when it's attacking football teams and getting after them and not caring if they blitz or go for a deep pass or opening play of the game on the offensive end. So I totally believe you have to be aggressive and get after the Ravens today and keep that mentality and that nature. And if you do that, you have a great chance in this game.
All right, guys, real quickly, I want to thank some people because it takes a lot of people to get the show on air as our finale. Keith Mullahan, the producer with the Browns. Paul Taylor, Sarah Kornikovich, that whole team over there with the Browns. They put out better video, better content than any other team in the NFL. Randy Zimnek, he's our producer. He's the one that we hear in our ear from 11 to 12. Jim Perko and all the directors that have worked with us all season long. Mike Harris, Tom Livingston, everybody that's been behind a camera. It takes so many people to put this show on air week by week. And we're just the lucky ones that get up here and talk about the Browns. Are they going to get the job done today?
I think we'll get the job done. I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with you two.
Absolutely.
I mean, you guys, thank you for having me.
It makes it worthwhile to get up early on a Sunday. This is relatively early for me. I know you got a whole day of work going on. And Hanford's got a whole day, too. I'm going to go take a nap. For Gerard Cherry, Hanford Dixon, I'm John Doss. One final time. Thanks for watching the Browns Countdown presented by Elk & Elk. Enjoy the ball game.